I am here in Loaded. This is Donny, the founder, CEO, and my friend. We're having an awesome day. We're going to have a great tour of Loaded. Stay tuned and keep watching.
Like an F-16, like that's...
You got to be a good skater to ride it. Maybe.
But you got to be a good skater to ride it, but it's inherently unstable. And if you're in motion, you create stability. If you put your front foot all the way to the front, you can really feel, and your butt, your...
Oh, yeah, I tell that one. Yeah, wow. Oh my God, this is the most amazing board.
You can link everything else with the graphic, I think.
All right, here's a new secret.
Graphic,
we got a new wheel, a new Freeride wheel coming out, 73 millimeter. Super fun, very contemporary shape and
Show the graphic, show the graphic.
Oh, you cannot see that? All right, that's a quick peek.
Supernova V3.
Yes, it's
a great name.
our latest prototype.
You did not see that.
Oh,
It's not.
all right, it's not called the Supernova V3.
Here's another secret that you can't show.
Can't show, but bring the camera over.
Sorry, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. These are not the droids you're looking for. So hopefully this will come out next year. Surfing and snowboarding have been a huge influence on and inspiration and drivers for how we design and create our boards.
Check it out, I am in the headquarters of Loaded Skateboards. It's awesome. This is Donny. He is my friend as well as the founder and CEO of Loaded.
How's it going?
Whoop. All right, check it out. You are gonna come with us and we are gonna tour the facilities here, the not R&D facility. What was it called?
Let's say global headquarters. We're gonna show you a little bit of how we make our magic, spread our stoke worldwide. Introduce you to one interesting person. Show you a lot of random weird stuff.
There's so much toys here. Like literally, you could just like this is like a toy store for skaters.
Yeah, a couple of secret things, but other than that,
Disneyland.
do not look at that.
Don't look at that.
Don't.
It's secret.
Yeah.
The graphic. Don't link the graphic. You can link everything else with the graphic, I think.
All right, here's a new secret.
Graphic.
We got a new wheel, a new Freeride wheel coming out, 73 millimeter. Super fun, very contemporary shape and
Show
design.
the graphic, show the graphic.
Oh, you cannot see that? All right, that's a quick peek. Let's go on. What else do we have a secret?
got a whole video about
exposed. Them not showing anything? I'm here to learn it all. We got an apparel line that we're developing right now. That's also kind of...
I love these. The 110s are amazing.
105.
Those are 105s or 110s?
105s.
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 All right, the 105s are amazing.
Thank you.
They're called Dad Bod.
They're Dad Bods. These are a core that took us 3.5 years to develop. It makes it arguably probably objectively the lightest and the lightest 105 millimeter wheel in the world. But we did a lot of really interesting things in terms of the shape, including this groove in the back that creates a very consistent grip and edge hold and slide. I'm really proud of these.
Slide? You can power slide with a
You can power slide. It's not what it's designed for, but it'll handle it, and it won't throw you off. Versus like a wheel like this, for example, which I probably shouldn't show, but let's see.
What was that?
That's it. Excess urethane. This is a wheel that's not ours, but it was ported in our formula. With
Blooper reel.
But just to show, like a lot of the large, this is a 130 millimeter wheel. It's gigantic, but it's like it's all urethane, which is
Gonna be
super
heavy, no?
duper heavy.
Can I feel it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a lot of weight to it.
That would be rough
And
to
then
ride.
you get-
I don't know if it'd be rough. I mean, you just get a lot of
It's
momentum.
I'd say it's very comfortable. You just don't have like going to slide or anything weird. You're just getting a lot of vibrations within it, and you're getting a lot of weight, and you're getting a lot of cost. Urethane is incredibly expensive these days since COVID has gone up tremendously. So through here, this is where we do marketing. We have a little space here for Bike LA, which is the Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition. So it's kind of we're building stuff to put on the streets, and they work on infrastructure and advocacy. We have
That's cool. It's shared office?
We give them space, and we give space to Stoke Mentoring, which works with underprivileged kids around the country and
awesome.
teaches them skate, surf, and snow. So yeah,
That's totally cool.
here's
It's
another
beautiful.
secret that you can't show.
Can't show, but bring the camera over.
Sorry, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. These are not the droids you're looking for. That is a downhill board that is not. We're not working on. It will never come out. No, it might come out soon.
All the secrets in my videos. Check it out. Keep watching.
Well, let's introduce you to the infamous Juhyeok.
Hello. What do you do here, Juhyeok?
I'm Juhyeok. I do product development here at Loaded Boards. I am a team of one, unfortunately, but it's fun. It gives me, it gives me a lot of leeway. I get to be creative. I love it, and most of my day-to-day here is working on decks, trucks, wheels. We can do a lot of those in-house.
If you trucks, you just bleep that out. I'm kidding.
Oh, no. The trucks.
Is that more secret stuff?
No, it's not secret. It's a personal project.
Oh, okay.
Or it started as a personal. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to show off your 12 by 12 by 24 printer?
No, that printer. I rarely use the whole thing, but yeah, right now I'm just using it to make some marketing material. So when we go to events, we can set it up as a little sign out front. Yeah. So
if you don't realize, that's the Loaded logo in little bits and pieces, and it's mirrored. It's the backside.
So anything we need for marketing when we go to events and such, we can make here, and it's much more efficient than having to order something on Alibaba or whatever, you know. So I like doing this. It's fun. It keeps me creative, and it's a good way to practice CAD modeling and manufacturing processes. There's not much here.
You got a whole stack of decks.
Mess. The decks, yes. These are just. I keep these around because sometimes I turn around in my chair, and there's a lot to take inspiration from in these decks. Not all of these are loaded even. Like this one is from a Korean brand. This is a much older model that we used to produce called the Chubby Unicorn.
Whoa,
yes,
that's thick.
I don't know if
how many
you're
ply
familiar with this one.
It's a vert lam, so it's actually one ply, but multiple laminates of a basswood. So it's kind of like one stage stiffer and heavier than balsa, but very light. And then there's a poured urethane sidewall, which I take a lot of pride in that because that's become a standard right now in skateboards and a little bit in snowboards as well. And we were probably the first to do poured urethane sidewalls, and now we don't do it anymore because it's the pain in the knuckles.
Something I weight out. You say it's light.
It's quite light.
Whoa! For a board this size, I mean, it's the size of a dance board.
And most of the weight on that is the urethane. This is the core. See, I mean this was a fast. This is
without before you pour it.
Yeah, this how we pour. I mean, this is a blend, so that's why we have this here. But this is the core. For this, we have a 3-dimensional tool and then a 2-dimensional core plus urethane. So developing how we had to actually build software, create software that would be able to process to project from a 3D surface onto a 2D surface, so that we can machine it and have it to match.
This looks like it's milled.
It's all milled. It's all milled, but you mill this, and then once you press it into a complex contoured shape, it has to match up exactly. So that took like 2 years until we developed. We worked with a software called Rhino and an add-on called Grasshopper that allows you to design and develop your own programs and your own CAD-based
custom G code.
There you go.
It allows you to do
Are these tabs on the end just for
alignment?
So that you break them off at the end?
Yeah, we machine them off, but that's why
you machine them off.
Sits in the mold, and it's totally aligned so that every board's consistent. Every board's pressed singly, so it's exactly aligned in the mold.
Yeah. I always wonder that when you drill the holes for the trucks, like you obviously can't be a millimeter off or more than a millimeter off, because then you're gonna ride not straight. So I'd imagine that would be centering that on the board would be the geometry nightmare.
It is. So we do a lot on the CNC, which gives you a very consistent hole pattern. We also, at our old manufacturer, we developed a multi-drill press that would come down. You would set it you would align it to the exact parameters, and it would come down in one shot. So both of those worked really well. We've tried all kinds of different things. We've had challenges over the years, but we've dialed it in.
Do you ever misdrill it and then sell it as a blemish, but you have to tell the person and then they try to ride it and it's all zigzaggy?
Yes, I would say yes to some extent, but like we do because our stuff is organic and because of the nature of how we build stuff, we do get blemishes or blems in seconds.
Yeah.
However, if it's a structural issue, we don't sell it.
Yeah, but drilling the holes wrong wouldn't be structural, but it would make it pretty difficult to ride.
Yeah, potentially it could be structural.
You push this way and the board would have a little bit of a cant to it.
So most of those we unfortunately have to trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. In any kind of manufacturing process, whether it be boards or anything else, alignment is always one of the most important things, especially when numerically controlled devices like 3D printers or CNCs are involved. Alignment is everything, right? So coming up with a good workflow so that we can mount the tool to be perfectly aligned and reduce blemish rates, that's part of, you know, my job here too.
Awesome. Let's go see the rest of the place.
Thing
We are recording.
Oh gosh, a lot of the boards that we've made here at Loaded have had wheel wells or wheel flares to prevent wheel bite. I mean, that's a necessary
about that.
feature.
Talk about that one.
And one of the things about machined wheel wells is that a lot of the time the depth of the wheel well is consistent with the concave of the board, which I never understood. It's not necessary. So this board, when I was practicing making this one, I did this thing where the wheel well is no longer parallel to the surface of the board. In fact, it's tapered a little bit so that it's thinner on the edge here, but it matches the thickness of the board on the inside. That way we can retain the stiffness, or as much of the stiffness as possible, and also give this interesting sort of gradiated pattern, which I really like. So this one, we keep it here because it just looks pretty, right?
It looks great.
Yeah, I like the colors, the green and the orange and the stripes on it.
And I love just the aesthetic of having that cut go straight out to the end instead of just the normal wheel wells of a car kind of thing.
So to give you actually a little history, kind of I don't know if I've told you this before. Our first board, the Vanguard, which is this board that we did for Boosted. This was pre this board. It was effectively the same thing, but with a.
Are you able to talk about your history with Boosted?
Sure, absolutely.
So
this board
that's super interesting.
I developed in. I was working on for many years in college, but then this was I
it's a
developed
clock.
this in 2000. This is a clock. Yeah. Thank you. Shout out to Jeremy Sishin in Switzerland, but our distributor out there and very very close brother. This board, I was developing this board in for a number of years, but between 2000 and 2002, with the side cuts, trying to emulate snowboarding. But this board had a full broad snowboard outline on the nose and tail, symmetric. And I went out skating about a month before we went into full production on these boards, or a couple weeks rather. I went with my buddy Ariel, and we were skating up in Beverly Hills, and he started getting wheel bite. I knew, you know, as a skater, I knew what the, you know, limitations of the board were. He didn't as much, and he started getting wheel bite, and he would fall, you know, he fell and he ate shit pretty hard. So I came in the next day, and I was working with my dad. My dad was effectively CFO at the company at the time, and my dad was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, well, I told him the story. So he's like, well, why don't you do wheel cutouts? And I'm like, you can't do wheel cutouts. It's like, why not? I'm like, well, nobody's ever done wheel cutouts, to my knowledge. That's not totally true, but it's pretty much true. And then from there, I decided, you know, maybe he's right. So I started doing very minimal, efficient wheel cutouts, like just cutting them out like this to reduce the point in which the wheel would contact. And I did that on one side of the board with a jigsaw by hand in my buddy's backyard. And then the other side, I started doing organic, tangent arcs, and found that contouring creates very intentional flex profiles.
Okay.
And that's been very...
So that messes with the flex when you do the arcs?
Totally.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Totally. So that's very much the DNA. And the reason I bring that up is that if we go back here, that because this is a composite structure, where when you're machining this out, your composite skins are laying under here, and they're a big part of the structure of this board. It's going to impact how that board flexes. So if this were to be cut out like this, you'd get a lot more torsional stiffness, and probably maybe torsional stiffness, but it's going to create a very different flex profile. For this application, this is probably more ideal for what we're trying to do, and that's, you know, trial and error, seeing what it works, and it also looks cool.
Mm-hmm. Is that going to ever make it to production, that board?
As soon as possible. We're getting 12 samples next week. I haven't even told you that.
It's not going to look much like that, by the way. Yeah. That's just it's a concept model. It's very avant-garde.
This is in-house development board. So what we do, we don't do any production here. we do all our R&D here. So we do test and ride. We build full-on rideable prototypes, effectively production level quality. Not the graphics, but performance-wise, we can build in here. And let's transition over to checking out our R&D lab.
Yeah, we'll do a quick walkthrough.
Do it, show me.
Yes, so this is the workshop. This is where we make all of our in-house prototypes before we send them off for mass manufacturing, of course. We were filming a video here earlier, which is why we have recording equipment lying around and not everything's all organized, but let me show you this thing first. So what we have here,
Supernova V3.
yes, it's a great name. It's our latest prototype.
You did not see that.
Oh,
It's not.
all right. It's not called the Supernova V3.
I don't know what it's called. It doesn't come down to me.
It's a great name though. If you do, if that makes it to a skateboard, that's a fantastic name.
Yeah. The working titles, I just make them up on the spot, but it doesn't come down to me. That goes on to Don or the marketing guys. So this is a block of 8-pound urethane foam. In the film industry, they use this stuff to make make props. Yeah, that was completely. This isn't even a directional board, but it's fun sometimes, you know. Yeah, so it's very difficult to sort of convey this on camera, probably. But this is in the shape of a skateboard, and we take materials like maple or sheets of bamboo, and we lay it up on this surface, and we push it down with great force and pressure until it cures into a rideable skateboard. Of course, it'll look something like this. It'll look like a rectangle, at which point we need to cut it out, and we do that on the CNC.
Wait, before you go on though, I was actually surprised because I haven't seen the ingredients that make up a skateboard before, and I was commenting that this piece of wood, which goes in the long direction down the skateboard, is very different flexibility.
These are maple. These are both maple. This is a vertical maple, and this is a horizontal maple. And the horizontal maple is much softer this way, much stiffer in this direction, and that gives you the torsional properties. This provides torsional properties, this provides longitudinal properties. And that's traditional skateboards, or traditional 7-ply, will be 5 plies of vertical, 2 plies of horizontal grain, and that'll give you the ideal longitudinal pop and torsional flexibility. We also use a lot of bamboo as our core material, especially for our flexi and composite boards, as we'll show you in a sec. We've got a lot of other material. We've got a whole assortment. We love materials, so we've got a lot of really cool stuff.
My surprise was just how flexible. This is literally like a few sheets of paper. Like it'll bend the way.
Yeah, but try to flex it the other way, and you see that it does have. I can hold that for you.
No, you're right. It's totally. It's like rigid.
It's stiff in the other direction.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's actually running in the other direction.
So it's a one-dimensional stiffness.
You can see the grain structure. Now this is maple. What's the grain structure of maple? Maple's really a beautiful material. It's very dense. It has a decently consistent grain structure, but bamboo on the flip side is a much more interesting material to me because it's much more, wouldn't you agree? It's much more engineered. It's just like, it's a grass. So it's a tubes.
More precise material.
More precise material.
In many ways.
Yes.
Because the directional properties are more consistent compared to something like maple. It's a grass, not a tree, so it has the
Bamboo's a grass. That's
It's
wild.
more fun to ride on grass, right? I just said that.
Now, in terms of woods, though, you only use maple and bamboo. You don't use like pine or something like that.
Well, we do use. We have that basswood that we've used in the past. We've played around with a lot of materials. We've used mahogany is actually an amazing material, but
super hard wood and heavy.
Super hard wood and not very environmentally friendly, so we don't use it. We used oak for many years before we transitioned to bamboo. We played a lot with balsa and with hickory and aspen and pine. But aspen and pine are used a lot in the snowboard industry, but they have a really good strength to weight ratio, but the perimeter, their impact resistance is not great, so you need a sidewall. So we've done that we did something similar with our basswood for our downhill boards with a full perimeter, but we found that maple and bamboo are primarily what we use right now, but we're pretty much agnostic. I mean, we're going to use the best material for the application.
In terms of like customer bases, like people, end users, are they like recipient to like, that's not the right word. Are they open to other woods? Because I know that when I shop for boards, if I see something's made out of like pine, I'd probably like skip it and go for maple, or either maple or bamboo seems to be like the universally accepted.
Maple works. Maple makes a lot of sense. I mean, for traditional street skate, let's actually run you through the process. You would build a tool like this, 2-part. You would have the 7 plies of this maple. Then you would press it top and bottom, which was...
Yeah, we have the top motors right here next to it. So just sandwich it together. So if you look at it from the side, you can see the side profile of the board. You see that? Like with the kicktails and the little contour. Yeah, so the material would essentially go in between to create the board.
Have you ever just gotten creative and stuck other things in there to see what happens if you make it into the shape of skateboard?
Well, yeah.
Often.
The thing is, it doesn't make sense to limit materials to wood. The reason we use wood is because it makes the most sense for most applications. But that's the only reason, not because it's wood, not because it's bamboo, but because it's the most appropriate material. If we can find another material that's more appropriate, we'll use that. For example, right here, we have this honeycomb core that we experimented with a long time ago.
It's a paper core. It's a what do they call that?
I don't even remember.
It's a phenolic resin in a high. There's a name for it. But yeah, it's effectively a paper dipped in a phenolic resin, and there's a term for it that sounds all fancy, but that's really cool for multiple applications. Yeah. We're exploring mycelium, mushroom foam core stuff right now.
Really?
Maybe that's kind of pie in the sky at this stage.
It's psychedelic. That'd be fucked up.
Yeah.
If you wanted to build a board with a lot of flexi, I would imagine Delrin would be a good material. It would be super flexi though.
Delrin has really, really good shear, like Delrin and UHMW, which are usually the base materials. UHMW is used for base material for snowboards. So for like low friction and good shear, or what's it? Friction? What's the term?
Friction coefficient.
It's not shear. It's coefficient of friction plus the like.
It's slippery.
Yeah, but it doesn't get wear. What's the? I don't know what the technical term is. It's slipping my mind. Delrin's pretty cool, but it's heavy. It's very heavy. And Delrin cracks. So
I didn't know that. I know that's a super strong plastic. It's like it's incredibly resistant to impact.
Just it is. It's interesting. We're doing a lot more injection molding with plastics and additive filled plastics, and we've been learning a tremendous amount.
The paintball industry loves Delrin. Like every company's making parts out of Delrin because
what?
Paintball.
What? Oh yeah, because it's smooth. But you can also use UHMW. Would be a good material, or Spectra, which would Spectra actually I think is a UHMW. Now that I think about that,
It's just a brand of UHMW or something.
yeah, I think it's more like UHMW. But yeah, I mean those are both low coefficient of friction. UHMW is better for snowboards because it absorbs wax, and Delrin I don't think does as well. But they're both really cool materials. And the plastic, I mean, the polymer stuff is amazing. Like just
it's cheap too, much cheaper than the wood of that.
Not always. No.
Oh, because you need weight, because you need the quantity. Of
well,
it,
you can. I mean, you can. There's high performance polymers that are used for the aerospace industry that are incredibly expensive.
Yeah. Like
PK or some of these materials, like they rival steel in terms of the material properties, but they're not cheap. They're not cheap.
Carbon fiber is essentially plastic over a fiber. Like it's liquefied plastic.
So
over fiber.
let's speaking of composites. So we do a lot of composites here. Here's some of the composite materials we use. This is a twill or biaxial basalt fiber, some biaxial glass fiber, and a triaxial. Triaxial meaning that the material runs 25% of the way runs this way, 25% of the way runs this way, and 50% of the way runs vertically. So when you put that on a skateboard, it makes the board very stiff longitudinally with very good. You can kind of see it. I don't know if you can see it on that camera, but
what am I looking for?
You see the print through of the material. You see.
Yeah, you get the light to shine on. I see it with my eyes.
Yeah.
How the camera.
So you might be seeing the grain.
I don't know if you can see right there in the camera. There's that texture.
And what that does is it creates a lot of torsional stiffness, which for a skateboard is it's arguably more important. I mean, they're both important, but longitudinal stiffness versus torsional stiffness if the board is torsionally loose and torsionally chatters at higher speeds, that becomes a lot more uncomfortable than if it's longitudinally soft.
Does that cause speed wobbles?
Yeah, I mean, it does transfer into the trucks and creating speed wobbles.
Yeah, it's all about control, right? Speed wobbles and vibration, it's all about what kind of mass spring damper system you have. And when you put another variable in there that's pretty loose, it's going to cause problems. So if you want all the control to come down to your ankles and the way they interact with the trucks, you want something stiffer. Yeah.
There are people who like flexi boards. I love the stiffest decks possible on any board I ride. But there are people who yeah, totally.
There's a time and place.
There's a time and place, yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely people who prefer flex in their decks. I'm not one of them.
That's definitely something that's been our forte. Like we brought
flexi decks,
snowboard flex technology. There's others who've done it before. Fiberflex, a lot of the Swiss people in the 90s. But mass market, that's definitely been our claim to fame, is taking snowboard style construction and technology. And these boards are pretty much bomb-proof. You can ride over with a car. But what the flex does is it gives you this preloading. It gives you this energy, this potential energy. So you're like pushing into your turns. You can weigh and unweigh and get all this power to it. But not all of our boards. It's really, once again, just like materials, flex is about the application. What are you trying to achieve? So I'd say we're agnostic in terms of it. We don't have a preference. It's just what is best for what we're trying to build.
And as Donny explained to me before, the loaded thing, the concept of the brand name Loaded is because it's pre-loaded in the flex.
Yeah. A lot of other connotations, which are pretty apropos, but for a skate company. But yes, that was the intention of the name. So while we're here, here's our CNC machine. This is what we use for prototyping. In-house, this is where we build so we design everything on CAD, and we can build CNC, cut out those toolings like the one we saw earlier. Then we press the boards, we bring it back here, we cut out the perimeter, like you can see right there.
This is the outside of a deck that we have since cut and skated. An incredible amount of precision, and it's faster this way too. So
if you look up there, there's a bunch of.
Wait, before we get up there, Donny pointed out this is a 10-foot long ShopBot. He told me that before we started recording.
Yeah, we had a custom
that is huge.
by ShopBot, so we can make surfboards ideally at some point. But it's definitely ideal for skateboards in terms of its width, and we use it. We only use this for prototyping, a little bit for displays for shops. But aside from that, it's pretty much exclusively for prototyping. And in terms of prototyping, we're now at a point where we can, 24 years in, but now we can go from concept to rideable prototype in under 24 hours. So, and then
Wait. 24 hours, concept to prototype, but it took 24 years to get here? Yeah. Holy cow. That's a long time in business.
18 years. So we started. But over the past 4 or 5 years, we've actually made a lot of progress in terms of making it simpler and easier. And what's really interesting about this, and which I'd love to share publicly, is that it looks like this is a little bit technical, but what we're doing is really accessible. People can do this on their own without much cost or much effort. Not getting a CNC machine, but like you can hand sand or machine a tool. You can vacuum bag it with a wine press and get you can create your own skateboards relatively easy. It's just a little bit of elbow grease and some creativity and ingenuity. So we're going to spend a lot of time in the next few years sharing the way we process, the way we prototype, in order to encourage others to do the same.
That is totally awesome. I wonder, is it safe if someone made their own? Like, is it possible to delaminate on them while they ride?
Find out. It's the only way to find out.
Yeah, but you're not gonna make something good without scraping a couple knees,
Yeah. And those are all your.
If it doesn't break, you're not doing. If you don't break it, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, and those are all your molds up there.
So those are the molds from the past couple of years. It's not all of them, but those, if you can see, all of them started at 6 inches. Many of those are very thin, so they've gone through multiple iterations where we'll cut it one out, we'll press it, we'll try it, and then we'll recut it and change the contours and curvatures. So and then reprocess them for other boards as well.
Oh, you could take the mold and turn it into a different board from one to the other?
Within reason.
Within reason.
But yeah. We don't do that often. Well, you do it all the time.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we don't do it often, but this is our current storage of urethane, or what we have left from 20 years of urethane, continuous urethane prototyping and development. Both shapes are primarily formulas. We continue, and we've spent...
For the wheels, just for those who aren't getting what he means.
Yeah,
urethane is for the wheels.
We've probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point on prototyping and development. And it's urethane's, it's a, what's the best way to say it? It's a very complex, it's much more complex than skate polymers. There's so many materials that go into urethane, so to create good urethane parts, a little bit of black magic, but it's, we work with some amazing partner on our urethanes, and I'm really proud of it.
I want to know what those things are down there. The clear centers.
So this is a new race wheel that we will be launching in about a month or so. And this has some really interesting properties. This is not the final version. Final version, we use a brand new urethane. We've tested multiple urethane types. But what we're doing here, you see that center line, that's because it's a 4-part mold. And what that does is it allows us to create a flat surface and a mild transfer.
Wait, hang on. Joey! Wait till we're done recording. Thank you.
So this is, a prototype race wheel. We're going to launch this wheel as a prototype for the next year. Get feedback, figure out what this is not the urethane itself, but it's the shape. The urethane itself is a brand new proprietary urethane that is significantly faster than anything we've done in the past. But it's also got properties, grip factors that are very appropriate for race and not appropriate for the rest of our wheel lineup. It may trickle down, but
I'm curious what those properties are.
It's super grippy. It's like it gives you really good edge hold. I don't know that that's the urethane. It's in the, but it's, I'm not sure which one this is. So we have a whole bunch, but it's a whole brand new formula from scratch. It's got one major property is rebound. So if I were to drop this, the amount of rebound, how high it would bounce up, does have a direct correlation. I don't want to say direct, a correlation with the speed of the wheel. So that's one thing.
Well, more bounce is more or less speed.
More bounce is more speed, but it also depends on there's so many factors, variables. It does depend on the surfaces you're riding on, the temperatures you're riding on. But this is one we're going to do as a kind of a crowdsourcing development project, where we're going to launch this probably in July, August, and have a feedback form and get feedback from people and see what it's like, because this urethane is so unique and so different that we don't have the we've been testing it for 3 years now, but we don't really have enough information. We know it's good. We know it's very good, I would say. I do feel confident on that. Is it excellent? To be determined. If it's not excellent, we'll make it excellent. I mean, that's what we're here to do.
All right, so I am on his Coyote, the board, the Loaded, and I absolutely love it. But Donnie's got some other ideas.
Well, I'd say we just have a very high bar in terms of what we expect from ourselves. So our role as a company is to expand the nature of what a skateboard can be. So what you're riding on the Coyote is a great board. I think it's very good, but it's somewhat comparable to what's already out there. I'm not trying to knock it. It's a good board. As we sell out of it, which will probably happen in the next few months, we're not gonna bring that back into our lineup. I think that we have a lot of, it's not a bad board, it's a beautiful board. It's celebrating Mexican muralists. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a mural on the wall outside, which we'll look at later.
I didn't notice that.
That is, who was the earlier version of this board? This is a different Mexican muralist. Oh, no, that's the same one on the wall. I think that all the boards that we try to do are, once again, we love skateboarding, we love snowboarding, we love surfing. We don't feel that we have a monopoly on good ideas. So if there are great skateboards out there, that's great. Let them do what they do. Like 7-ply, Street X are pretty dialed. I think there's some room for improvement, but they're really good as is. Our role is to develop new stuff and to expand what skateboarding is, expand the parameters. I don't think that board, the Coyote, does it to the level that we'd like. So I'm not knocking it, but I think we have a lot of other things to offer, a lot of things to create.
What's amazing about skateboarding is everyone has different opinions. Like I like stiff decks. They were laughing at me before saying that most people like flexi. In terms of this, and never mind that I was just mall grabbing it, this is exactly the kind of board I love. I just got on this and like the camera wasn't running, but I just got on this and I just said, this is perfect.
Let's build a board.
Let's build a board? Oh yeah, let's build a board.
Let's do it quick because I gotta let's build you a board which will be kind of comparable to the tugboat. We may not fully build the board. Here, welcome to Loaded. This is where we have all our decks. Here in our Culver City global domination headquarters.
Domination.
Where we don't dominate very much.
And the occasional ripstick.
We maybe, actually,
Oh,
we maybe do.
Can't put that on camera, but we're gonna go.
We can put it on camera, but we can't.
If Donny doesn't tell me to edit out later, that's a ripstick.
We have a good relationship with Razor, so we've been talking about doing a collab and trying to upgrade the ripstick, which may or may not happen. To be determined.
I have seen on a few occasions people take ripsticks on pump tracks. That is crazy because
It's crazy and downhill. People are doing downhill with ripsticks.
That was where I was going with it. That is exactly where I was going with
The
it.
Ballona board, which I'd like. I think I'd like you to get your hands on one of these. These are the two graphics. So it's up to you what you have a preference for. It's the same one. It's just aesthetic.
Is the grip tape transferable? I like that. I kind of like this one better
Me
overall.
too. Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of. So these are two versions of the same board. What happened to this board? It's very subtle. The curvatures on this are very subtle.
You're talking about the concave?
There's a it's pretty relatively wide. It's really short. It's 28 or 29 inches.
Okay.
But it has a relatively long wheelbase. The short kick tail.
What was the Coyote? And is it longer or shorter than this?
Here's a Coyote for reference.
I mean, that literally just, my feet just said, I love this Coyote thing.
Is the same wheelbase. Actually,
No,
it's a
it's
longer
not.
wheelbase.
A little bit longer.
It's a significantly longer board, but it's narrower. This is a wider board.
This is closer in shape to, I think, my land yacht, right?
Yeah,
my
I think
dinghy
it's
board.
very. I wouldn't say it's comparable to the land yachts, tugboats, or the dinghies, which are awesome boards. I'd say it's in the same realm, but because of the very subtle curvatures, it has a spoon nose, so your front truck is wedged, which creates a much more drivey platform from the front. Slightly.
When you say
de-wedged.
drivey, describe what you mean by that.
I'd say it's like an F16, if I can be
Like you can carve easy, is what
It's
you're saying.
super pumpy. It's almost in the realm of surf skate. In
that I like.
It's,
Okay.
It's really drivey. It's really turny. You have a lot of stability in back. It's a very tiny board, very portable. It does require a lot of, like an F16, like that's.
You got to be a good skater to ride it.
But you got to be a good skater to ride it. But it's inherently unstable, and if you're in motion, you create stability.
Okay.
So
I'm stoked for that.
let's build this up for you. So the way I would do it is to use the trucks.
Okay. For the bushings, I'm 188 pounds, so I need something. I like super soft bushings, but like the problem is I'm 188, so we can't get wheel bite. So I have to find that balance where it's as loose. The trucks are as loose as possible before it hits wheel bite.
Okay, so we're gonna.
And I like the biggest
black
possible
or
wheels.
raw?
Black.
Yeah,
That's
let's do
cool.
black.
Yeah.
Nobody else gets black either. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you want a more grippy wheel or more slidey wheel?
It depends on what spectrum we're talking about. So slidey like 101B or something.
No, in terms of shape. You want
I want the widest profile possible.
profile.
Yeah, now I understand your
Grab
question.
you some love.
I want biggest, widest wheels.
Biggest, widest, softest.
I guess softest.
Okay.
That part I'm not sure, but I guess. But biggest and widest I know I like. Like this, the widest profile. What are they?
These are our 65mm Love Handle wheels.
What a great name.
They're very. Thank you.
And they bounce.
They bounce.
That means they're going to be fast.
Oh yes. They're fast. Let's put some bearings on.
All right. What kind of bearings do you guys use?
We created our own bearings. They're the Loaded Jehu bearings.
Say it again. Loaded what?
Jehu. It comes from my background in many years of religious seminary. Jehu in the Bible was famous for riding very fast on his chariot. Now, I'm not advocating for any sort of theology, but they're really fast. And they use an integrated spacer.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's got a full integrated spacer, a double shield on both sides. They're kind of like a little bit of an unsung hero for us. I don't think people are aware of this bearing as much as I hope they should be, because these bearings are actually awesome. We've done a lot of testing.
Are they 6 or 7 balls inside?
These are 8 balls.
8. So you use little ones. So Bones, their whole big product thing is that they have what they actually call it big balls. Never mind the implications. And they took the typical 7-ball bearings and made it into 6. So you went the other way and went small balls.
Well, this is the same. So what Bones says is actually very interesting. I can't just to be objective. I don't know that I know. The 6 balls I think actually makes more sense. But these, once again, they hold up. They're incredibly durable.
Well, I have the big balls in one of my boards. I know that they are really, really fast. Like they do what they claim to do.
Yeah, the Bones, I mean, I have Bones Swiss for 40 years.
Those are super expensive.
Bones Swiss that I bought it for $40 in 1988. They still hold up.
Yeah, but that's $40 though. 1988. Today they're what? $120.
Yeah, that would be about $100. Yeah, give or take. You want me to put this on the outer wheelbase? More stable. That's my
You do what you're recommending, because I've actually never had a board where there's the option of forward or back positioning on them.
Yeah, and forward actually gives you on this one, actually makes it kind of counterintuitively, because it's in that kick. It makes it more, it gives you a lot more of the front wedge and the D-wedge in back, which makes it more stable in back and much more turny in front.
Cool. So that's the surf skate thing you were saying before.
That is, yeah. Normally, like it's starting, like I said, bridging into the surf skate world.
Now I notice you use Allen key, not Phillips. Is there a reason?
We actually
for the hardware.
These hardware ourselves.
Do you really?
Yeah, this is the hardest. We spec this out. This is the strongest and hardest hardware in the world.
Okay, so you just taught me something, because I kind of thought all hardware was the same. It was just a bunch of screws off the shelf at Home Depot that random brands repackage as their own.
We share a lot of information on this one. I'm not going to actually tell you what we do, because we call that a very specific formula on the steel. This is the strongest steel. We don't break bolts. This is another like a little bit of a hidden secret of Loaded. You know, this is these bolts are the highest grade bolts in the world. So,
it's reverse trucks? Reverse
yeah,
kingpin?
we're gonna do reverse kingpin, so it's a little turnier, a little more stable.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, we can.
No, I just when I first looked, I'm like, is he putting it on backwards? Like, there's no way Donny's putting that on backwards.
So in terms of like dropping, in terms of like, in terms of using this as like park and pool skating, this is not really the right track setup. But as a commuter, like urban exploration truck or urban exploration setup, this is pretty awesome.
Am I going to need risers with my body weight?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, you're not going to get right.
Oh, because you got the scalp.
Because I have to run, and because my wife is going to kill me if I stay too late, I'm going to give you some bushings to play around with it on your own.
Awesome.
Well, we're going to start with the Paris bushings, the standard Paris bushings, which are pretty awesome. They're pretty awesome. We actually helped them with the development of these bushings, so I do think
that was my question. What is the diameter on them? Do you know?
It's in the 90s. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. It's okay. Approximate 90s is. It's not super hard, but it's not soft.
It's not super hard. It's not super high rebound compared to our bushings, which are much more lively, but at higher speeds they're not as stable. So if you want a more pumpy bushing, the bushings that we do are a better fit for that. And I'll give you a good bushing for you, for your weight, and you like loose your trucks? Is that
I
your
like to make the
preference?
trucks as loose as I can go, but I can't go that far ever because
loose as
I
you can
end
go.
up with wheel bite.
Okay, then I'll give you the loosest bushings that we offer.
So how come I won't get wheel bite with this if you put the
It's
super
the way
loose
we
ones?
designed the wheel wells and the way the trucks are designed and the size of the wheels, you're not going to get wheel bite on this.
Okay.
That was intentionally.
I mean, literally, there's risers on almost every one of my skateboards because of that. And
Risers.
even with that, sometimes I hit the turn hard enough, and all of a sudden I feel wheel bite. I've learned to just skate through it. It usually doesn't throw me, but it definitely digs into the
You're
wood.
not going to get wheel bite on these.
Okay. That's a pretty big distance in there.
So why do we use Allen? You were asking me before.
Say again, please.
You were asking why we use Allen. Allen's versus Phillips. Loud. But Allen's versus Phillips are much more, have less chance of stripping.
That's chance of what?
Stripping.
Oh, stripping the heads or stripping the actual threads?
Stripping the heads. Try to say a little loud. Almost done. And if you notice a cross,
I can't hear nothing until
if you notice that I'm doing a cross.
Yeah. So anyone who uses power tools should know to do the cross thing. I mean, if you just put tires on a car, like wheels on your car, like you change the tire, you're supposed to do cross bolts. You're not supposed to do them in sequential because then they loosen up sequentially.
Wheels.
All right. This is a beautiful board too.
Thank you.
With the gold king. That is gold, right? That's
That is
gold
gold,
colored.
yeah.
I assume it's gold colored, not gold, not real gold.
Those bearings that we have, they have an extended raceway on the outside. So we don't actually...
Extended what?
Raceway. That's what that center section is called.
Okay.
It's a technical term. And what that means
Raceway is the middle part?
Yes.
Okay.
It extends out a couple millimeters on the outside and inside of 5 millimeters on each side. So it gives you a 10 millimeter. Instead of using a bearing spacer, it's a, so your pressure on the bearing is much more dissipated. So you get a much better...
Even across the face of the inner face of the bearing, the inner diameter of the bearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That
So
makes
it's
sense.
5 millimeters on the inside and 2 millimeters on the outside, or 1.5 millimeters on the outside.
Plus, when you press them in the wheel, they'll probably go straighter in than a typical bearing.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And it rides much smoother. It lasts a lot longer. Yeah. These bearings are, very proud of these. We should do a much better job of marketing them, but we will in the future. Everything in its time, right?
Mm-hmm. So you don't put the washer on the inside, only
Yeah,
on the
there's
outside?
no need because that has.
Oh,
that
you take
washer.
all the washers out.
Take them off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean the washers are great if you have a standard bushing, a standard bearing.
Yeah.
But with these bearings, there's really no need. So.
I mean, the nickname for these just ordinary washers are speed washers. I mean, because people think they make the board go faster, and it probably does on regular bearings, right?
Because on regular bearings they do, because you're, because what's happening here is you're putting all the pressure on the outer raceways, pushing it in and keeping it consistent. And if you have if you don't have the extended raceways, then what you're doing otherwise is, without a speed washer, is you're putting pressure on the bearings, and you're actually compressing the bearings, and you're potentially creating friction on the balls themselves. So this is a alternative and technically more superior, in my opinion, method of doing this.
In terms of physics, that makes total sense, because if the bearing flexes, it's going to lose speed.
Right, so it's not, surprisingly it's not, it's a standard in longboard. Longboarding is moved in this direction. As you can see, like they spin, once you can tighten all the way down, and they spin.
Are you supposed to tighten them down? Because I never do that with wheels. I always leave a little bit of loosey-goosey in there.
I usually, but because of the way that pressure is going, you can tighten them all the way down.
And nothing, and that's okay.
They're better.
Literally, that's the first thing I do when I get a board, because I buy a lot of used boards for kicks. And when everyone who says it's a slow board, the first thing I do is loosen the wheels up, and all of a sudden it's not a slow board anymore. Oh, let's try this thing out. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I want to try it. Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't know where the trucks are at by default, but let's see.
One recommendation on this board, which is somewhat unusual, is that I do recommend putting your foot all the way up on top.
Yeah, because there's no nose. That's how. That's
Not only there's no nose, there's a spoon on the front of the board. So if you're standing on the front, is where you're really able to drive that front truck.
that is stable.
Yeah, for the
Holy
tiny board, it
Oh,
has.
I like the trucks. Oh, I love it. I love that flex.
And I'll give you some other bushings to take with you, so you get to play around with that. Let's. There you go.
Wow, these things are great. Let's see. Now the wheel bite is the fear of mine. To see that.
So try when you're flat. Here, let's switch off.
No, I want to do it. I just want to pop a Yui and see if I.
Yeah, but let's switch off for 1 second. I'll show you how you can test. You know, you can hold on to something, and I would do it the other way. Goofy.
You ride regular or goofy?
Goofy. And you can take it all the way down, and there's no wheel. Well, there's a little bit of wheel at the back actually.
We're probably somewhere in the vicinity of similar weight body weights.
Yeah,
I think.
you can get a little bit of wheel bite in the back.
No, but I'm not riding like that. That's.
Yeah, exactly.
That's. I just want to see if I can pop a Yui
Where I would
without
ride
it.
it is once again, it's like, and these trucks are very loose as is. So you have a lot of drive in this.
I gotta run after you in your.
Trying to escape.
No, that's cool, man.
Super powerful. Like you can just pump. I mean, we can pump from a standstill.
All right. My new board. I'm dying to try it. Come on.
Your turn.
Here, grab the camera.
All right.
Let's see if I can pump.
Let's get you some other bushings as well that you can take home with you.
Oh yeah, you can pump it with the surf ski.
Yeah, put that foot all the way. That foot all the way up front.
I lost you. Sorry. I'm on the other side.
Put that foot all the way on front. And if you put your front foot all the way to the front, you can really feel, and your butt, your.
Oh, yeah, I tell that one. But yeah, wow. Oh my God, this is the most amazing board. I don't think I've ever rode anything.
It's super
stable and surfy, and oh my God, I love it.
It's super subtle, and like there's a lot of. It takes a lot. It's been interesting. This isn't a sleeper board for us. When we launched it about 2.5 years ago, it didn't do very well. And now it's in our top 5 boards because people, I think, are starting to get what this board's about. So I'm stoked, and it's the most accessible price point board that we do. Once again, we don't build boards. We build the best boards we can. So it's not building about price, but that board is
amazing.
Complete. So
189 complete. This is amazing. Holy cow. So I think that if this wasn't your top 5, I would say the way to make it your top 5 is just let people try it because it's really fun to ride.
I do think you gotta, yeah. You want me to turn that light up? And I think you gotta understand how to ride it because it's
me or in general.
In general. Like,
am I doing it right? I don't know. I'm a new rider, so
that's what I'm saying. Like traditionally, you put your foot a little bit further back, and then you won't get all the drive out of that front truck.
Yeah.
So understanding that takes a little bit of. It's different than any other board of its nature, and once again, that's our goal. Is we're building unique and hopefully important skateboards.
I'm glowing with happiness. You don't realize how fun this is. You guys got to get out there and go get a loaded board because these are amazing.
So we've been playing around with the balance board concept for a number of years, and using bamboo and cork, and we do a custom contoured pressed cork underlayer, which makes it super easy to ride as a Indo voodoo style balance board with a cork roller. What this does, the way we design this, is it's flat underfoot, so it's super easy. And instead of having a hard stop, it ends up like gradually slowing you down. But then it gets concave on the end.
Yeah, so you don't fly off the end of it.
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's definitely expensive to produce, but you can also use this for other stuff. I mean, you use this for also just general health, like push-ups and balance and standing desk and whatnot.
Can you actually do the balance board? Because I know I can't. I'm not going to get on that because I know I can't do it.
I haven't done it in a while, so maybe you want to pause the camera.
Can we keep it rolling and then we'll do the blooper reel if it doesn't work out?
Yes. When I die, that's why you have insurance, right?
Oh, you could do it. Oh, come on. You could totally. Well, okay. You had it there for a bit.
That's pretty terrible. So
there you go. No, you can do it. Come on. You underestimate yourself. Come on. Yeah, I wish I could do it like you did. You're doing it.
I spent most of college on a voodoo board, actually, writing. That's how I would write my papers. Just sit there and think about it and come up with the concepts. And
your stance is just like your surfing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of surfing and snowboarding have been a huge influence on and inspiration and drivers for how we design and create our boards. Skateboarding as well, but all three have impacted the way we think about design. But yeah. So hopefully this will come out next year. Balance is amazing. Like as we get older, as I get older, rather, balance becomes more and more important. And it's a learned skill, so you got to keep working on it. So I do think it's an important thing for us to put out there and to get involved with. We've got a lot of really great friends in the wellness industry, so it's gonna be a really fun project. You just had a quick tour of the Loaded Boards global headquarters here in Culver City, California, where we do all of our everything comes through here. So we do all of our design, development, creativity, marketing, sales, whatnot. We assemble every board right behind you, and everything is stored here: trucks, wheels, decks, etc. So here's a little sample of prototypes and some existing boards, but mainly most of what we do is weird and whatnot. So we're constantly exploring and experimenting. Thanks for joining.
Thank you all for watching. This has been a super fun time. Thank you so much, Donny. This has been awesome.
My pleasure, dude. This is awesome.
This is a really, really fun day. I'm super stoked.
And you came by.
I'm thrilled. I mean, I'm not in LA all the time.
Yo, 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 yo.